and let us all do we can to build a better future.
But now I want to hand it over to Daniel, because you got a story that needs to be addressed, and I think it's only fair to say, everyone, it's going to be difficult to talk about, but we have to.
I mean, not as much as the NSA. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like, again, it's like, what is it? If one person dies, it's a tragedy. If a million dies, it's a statistic. And just another one of those stories that's a little bit in between of both. But it's interesting to, anyway. So Lainey brought up this story when it happened with the fall of that condo building in Florida, and everyone was sort of around what's happening, why is this happening, and she had made a comment that was, hey guys, let's wait, see what happens, and then do an update. Well, we've waited. There is an update, and it turns out, it's not definitive, they're still going through, but now we have more information. It seems that perhaps one of the culprits for this collapse could just be the normal machinations of capitalism, both in construction process, both in maintenance, both in management. Now, usually I read the article, but for the first time in a while, I actually liked the video that CNN put together because they didn't fluff it up. They seemed to really be sticking with at least what we know right now. So everything I'm saying now, if you're watching this video, not when we're live, but later, all this could change. It's just what we're working with right now. But let's check out that video.
The best clue so far as to how and why the Champlain Tower South fell in what forensic engineer Joel Figueroa Velines calls a clean collapse.
It was a pancake effect, so it was almost symmetric and vertical. And what that causes is the structure to come straight down instead of collapsing sideways or collapsing in any other trajectory, which would mean that whatever caused it, which is unknown at this point, would have caused the structure to have a clean vertical collapse of those towers.
But while engineers continue to speculate from afar, in reality, the answer lies, like the victims, trapped under rubble. The 40-year-old structure was due for massive repairs. An alarming 2018 inspection report warned of abundant cracking in concrete columns and several instances of deteriorating rebar, especially on the condo's pool deck and in the parking structure garage underneath the building. According to the report, failure to replace the waterproofing in the near future will cause the extent of the concrete deterioration to expand exponentially. Despite that report, minutes from the Condominium Association board meeting the following month show that a town official told residents it appears the building is in very good shape. Champlain Towers South was in the process of recertification, a Miami-Dade County government structural and electrical assessment of any building 40 years old. According to the Condominium Association attorney, the building had multiple inspections and was in the process of extensive work which would have cost $15 million. All of it considered proactive, on time, and on a building that no one, so far, perceived as in immediate threat of failure. Structural engineer Jason Borden examined Champlain Tower just last year.
I saw things that I typically see when we're looking at buildings when we're preparing to do this type of investigation or study. I saw cracks in the stucco facade, I saw deterioration of the concrete balconies, I saw cracks and deterioration of the garage and plaza level, but those are all things that we're accustomed to seeing, and that's why our job exists.
Any cause for alarm in what you saw?
What I saw, no. Again, I only spent an hour at the property in advance of doing a proposal for the to do the engineering investigation. However, what I did see while I was there did not alarm me at all.
The lack of alarm is now sending chills through residents in other aging buildings along this beach and beyond. Inspections underway, voluntary evacuations for the Champlain Towers sister building, and a rush to find the answer to why this building just fell. Forensic engineers caution that answer could yet be months away.
And Wolf,
pause
most
right
likely
there.
not a smoke.
Okay, so a lot of things. So first of all, I like the fact that they're interviewing the guy who previously did the inspection. He's like, oh yeah, nothing was wrong. Like, not saying there was or wasn't. I'm just saying it's sort of like you can't be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I was there and there's a ton of stuff that looked like the building was about to collapse and I ignored it. Also, it's like, hey, you know this really big building, how long did it take you to look through it? an hour, and I was, wrote up a report. I just look, it looks fine. I don't know. Clearly something was wrong with it, and it goes back to again when it first came out. I know that there were a lot of people that were like, "Oh my God." It's like, oh, there's a lot of Jews that live in this building, and there's terrorism, or there's Muslims in there, and it's like, it's America. The most likely explanation always is that we just didn't maintain the thing. Kit literally did a story just a couple weeks ago about a bridge that cracked in half, and it was not the inspectors who noticed it. It was a random person walking on the bridge or driving or whatever it was on the bridge.
Yeah.
So here we
in it,
have again. We have a couple of different factors coming together. We have obviously global warming, which really is affecting Florida. It's going to go underwater. So I don't know. Again, I'm just throwing stuff out. Just want to give the context of that what if there was a sinkhole underneath the building? I don't know. I'm just saying that there's that factor. You have this building. The concrete was disintegrating because modern concrete is not good. Actually, Roman concrete was, but modern concrete is not good against water damage. It has to be, as they said, having a protection, things of that nature. It seems like they knew that there was a lot of stuff that they had to rehabilitate. And ironically, very much like the U.S. budget, if you actually looked at that $15 million, I think only like maybe half of it or a little less was actually for structural issues with the building. A lot of it's like, oh, we'll rebuild the garden, blah, 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 things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So do we know what happened yet? No. But I think we now have a better direction, and I think a direction that we all should have thought of as being probably the direction this was going to go. Why did this building fall down? Likely because we didn't maintain it. We didn't have a regulatory structure that was looking securely enough at the building. We're dealing with climate change, which is affecting the soil around it, and people are laissez-faire about repairing a building like that. Yeah. So it seems like it collapsed because we let it. Again, that could change. They're gonna have to still dig through this thing for another half year likely. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, I'm seeing in the live stream chat, people are commenting rebar plus salt water equals a disaster.
Expands, rust is 3 times expansion as the steel itself that breaks apart the concrete.
Yeah, and so the thing is, everyone that's watching this, we cover a lot in this show about our infrastructure falling apart. That bridge that I mentioned, for example, that I did coverage on a few weeks ago, that was a big crack that was found in that bridge, and thankfully the bridge was shut down before there was any kind of further disaster.
Also, another one to add in that Scott's making sure a point to bring in. That's a good point. The pipeline in North Carolina was found by people in ATVs.
Yeah. So again, it's the people that are in charge that are supposed to make sure that we're safe, that our infrastructure is safe, that our buildings are safe. It's either they don't care, they're being paid off, or there aren't enough people to actually do this job. That's why when it comes down to when we cover stories about this infrastructure bill package that's going to be passed by the Democrats, apparently, the number is still so low that it's not going to cover a goddamn thing. And innocent people's lives have been severely devastated by this building's collapse. Mm-hmm. There are still family members and friends that are still asking questions. What happened? How was this allowed to happen in the first place? Who was in charge? Because right now, there's a lot of blaming. There's a lot of finger pointing. But we have to look at the main issue, and that is when it comes down to public safety, be it for private property or for infrastructure that the whole public uses, the whole mindset here in this country is, we'll just leave it alone. Well, don't worry, it's fine.
It's fine. We built it well.
We built it well. It's fine. You're over-exaggerating. Leave it alone. There's nothing for you to worry about. But see, the thing is, we do have to worry about it. That pipeline that's spilling right now in North Carolina, again, found by 2 kids, ATVs. That crack in the bridge, I just want to finish this. The crack in the bridge was found by not an inspector, but a regular civilian. If that bridge had collapsed, that would impact a lot of domestic trade in this country. And on top of that, too, this building that collapsed, well, there's also other buildings that are sister buildings to it. I wonder what their structural integrity is. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are worried, and everyone has every right to be upset, and we need real accountability. That's why when we said, even on the show, at the bare minimum, $10 trillion needs to be for that infrastructure package. But sadly, we have elected leaders and people who own property that don't give a damn about public safety.
Yeah, can you imagine, I mean, we've already had dams break and we've already had levees break. So I was going to say, oh, that'd be really bad, but that's already happened. But like the Hoover Dam breaks, I mean, that seems a little. That was actually built to last back in the FDR era of building stuff. But I mean, imagine if you're living in a building nearby and they're just like, I don't know, it's the concrete. Everyone's going to be really paranoid about concrete pretty soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it really just seems. Oh yeah, right. That was the other thing. So they were talking about having to fix this, and the Condo Association, who put out the proposal to do all this improvements and repairs, they were going to increase the rate, the condo rate, the association rate of the smallest, like because it's it's a varied income building, or it was. The smaller units were going to have to pay $500 more a month to do this repair that they were planning to do. And I think the larger, I think they said 5-bedroom units had to pay something like $5,000 more a month for these repairs. And I've also read a little bit about how when these things were being built anyway in the 70s or 80s, they were rushed and corners were cut. So what if the building was just not built properly, which made it more susceptible to this stuff that otherwise could be somewhat ignored, or at least by American standards ignored.
Yeah.
We'll find out, but I have a feeling that if it is in fact someone's fault, that there's going to be a lot of cover my ass syndrome going on. The condo association is going to go, well, we did everything we could. The building inspector said it was fine. The building inspectors are going to go, well, we just looked at the areas. They said they didn't. No one's going to want to take responsibility for what likely is going to be 100 people's death in a building falling apart.
Yeah, and rescue operators are still looking for survivors. Our condolences to the family members that are still looking for their loved ones. This should never have happened in the first place. And if we truly want to have a safe future, we need to be more. We need to make sure that our local governments, our state government, our federal government will actually do the job in making sure that public safety is put number one. But the thing is, our current crop of leadership, be they Democrat or Republican, don't give a damn.